Today's guest is Creighton Hobbs. He has died and come back to life 5 times. And he has a movie on Amazon Video about one of those times called How Many Chances? This near-death experience he remembers photographically. Creighton, thank you so much for giving me some of your time today. I really appreciate you and welcome.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm not only a big fan, but I'm in love with your voice. So, there
wow.
you go.
I'll tell you a quick story real quick. As I was on my other YouTube channels, I do toy channels, and I was on TV doing for a toy episode about the latest Christmas toys. And one of the anchors said, your voice would be perfect for ASMR. It's so soft.
Right. Yeah.
So,
oh, that's great. And see, I used to sell vintage toys and stuff. So
wow.
that's amazing. Yeah, we got something in common.
We got another podcast talking about toys ready to go.
Yeah. Well,
all right.
Yeah.
I was going to say, before everybody leaves, let's get into your NDE. So,
right.
Let's talk about the one that you can remember photographically. Let's start on the day that it happened and what happened.
Well, I don't remember the exact date that it happened, but I do remember I was probably in my 20s, my mid-20s is when this happened, 25 to 27. And I went and I had my wisdom teeth pulled. And now let me back up for a second. I am a severe diabetic, type 1 diabetic. I had it since I was 7 years old. And when someone who doesn't take care of their diabetes, they don't do right when they have a major procedure or surgical procedure. And me being me, I guess I like to tell people I'm like a cat that has 9 lives. It's just, I went and I had the procedure done. Well, I came home and I started having complications. My blood sugar was rising and going higher and higher and higher. And I finally just passed out onto the floor. And my grandmother, she was living with us at that time. And she, oh gosh, God bless her, when she was still alive, she was like 80 years young. She was just your typical Southern grandmother. You short, fat, always feeding you, just really sweet. And I fell over in the bathroom. And somehow, I don't know how she did it, but she lifted me up, and my dad came home from work, and he put me into his vehicle, and him and my mom was racing down to the hospital. And I believe it was Mobile Infirmary Hospital in Mobile, Alabama. And I wanted to throw Mobile, Alabama, because people will be like, boy, he's talking Southern, yeah, sorry. Yeah. But, well, what I remember is I remember being put on the table, and a doctor, he come in, he was a young doctor, and he looked at me and he said, son, don't go, don't. And I heard the heart monitor, beep, beep, boop, just flatline. And then I went out. And then as I was going out, I heard the doctor scream, oh, I mean, he, I didn't want to curse on your show, but, but he, that's what he said. And I remember right after that, seeing a black tunnel, if you will. It was a tunnel that was black, but at the end of this tunnel, there was a white light, and it looked like a softball. Like if you was looking at a softball that was little, and as you would float towards it, it would get bigger and brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter. Now, you would think to yourself, that kind of sounds scary, but it really wasn't. It was the best way I could put it. And I said this in How Many Chances? It feels like a warm feeling, as in if you was away from your house and you came home, and when you've been away from home for so long, and you walk in and you just get that warm, like, I'm here, I'm calm, I'm at peace, I'm home. That's the best way I could possibly tell it to you, of this feeling. Well, as I was getting closer, I realized I was getting to heaven's gates. I was getting to heaven. And that's when I heard a voice speak to me. And this voice told me, said, Creighton, it's not your time. I proceeded to debate this voice. I was like, no, but I want to go there. And, I was like, that's where I want to go. And that voice told me, said, I know you do. He said, but it's just not your time. You've got things you still have to do back on Earth. There's things you've got to get done. And it's just not it's just not your time yet. And I was still wanting to argue. I was like, but I want to. And then I woke up. And when I woke up, I was in ICU. And I had the breathing machines, the life stuff all on me. And as I'm waking up, now, and I've got they've probably got pain. I think they had some type of pain medicine in me, and there was a Jamaican nurse that was there, and she saw me, and she's like, I can't do her voice, but it's in How Many Chances, so you'll have to forgive me for the voice impersonation here. But she was like, oh my God, baby, you are alive. You're awake. Oh, you have some beautiful green eyes. I love you. Oh, I'm so happy you're awake, baby. Let me go get that stuff after you. You be still now. And she went and left, and they got all that junk. I look like a lab experiment, getting out of my mouth and nose and all of this. So going through that procedure, I was exhausted, and I went back to sleep. When I woke up, there was this beautiful blonde nurse there, and I thought I was hallucinating. And I looked at her, hi, and she was from England. And she used her total London English accent. By this time, I was totally confused because got close to heaven. I saw a Jamaican nurse, and I've seen somebody from England, and I'm from Mobile, Alabama. So I had to look to my dad, who was next to me, and I was like, was there a Jamaican nurse here? He said, yes, son. And I was like, was there a nurse here from England? He was like, yes, son. I was like, okay. And as I started getting my bearings, and I got put into a regular room, and as I was becoming normal and well enough to leave, my great uncle, he showed up to visit me, and he was, like, son, how are you doing? I was like, well, I'm better. And I told him, I said, Unc, you're not going to believe this, but I told him exactly what I just told you about that voice I heard. And when I did it, the voice impression for him, he turned. Now, he's a World War II veteran. I mean, my great uncle, he was a tough man. He saw some things, and he turned white as a ghost, and he looked at me dead in the face, and he said, you know who that voice was? I said, no, sir. He said, that was my little brother, your grandfather, who died in World War II. And he said, the last time I heard his voice is when he was being shipped off, and he got on the train. He said, that was the last time I ever heard his voice. But he said, I promise you, I just heard his voice come through you. And, this is, my dad, he grew up without his daddy, because he died in World War II. And so there was always that missing grandfather in our family. So to kind of realize that this is better than having, the best psychic in the world try to figure out who this voice was. And to know that I spoke to him, that was just, to me, a blessing. And to this day, it makes me smile, but it's kind of like, wow, wow, that's a one experience that I'm going to take to me to the final step on the 9 feet under. I mean, that's where I'm seriously going to never forget that whatsoever. And that's why I chose to put that part of my life into How Many Chances, because in How Many Chances, I try to visually make it better, to try to show the audience who's watching it the visual experience of me not only explaining it like what I've just done here on your show, but to create to my best CGI film creative things that I've learned throughout the years to tell this story visually. And
all right, let me ask you a question. And I'm just curious. And I'm not saying you're not right or anything. I'm just curious how your uncle understood that that was his brother without experiencing it himself.
He told me it was the voice, because it was so fresh on my mind that I was able to, I guess, pitch my voice, and I was able to say it word for word, that, and do the exact voice impression of it, because it was so fresh on my mind, that I was able to do it. Mm-hmm. And, I guess it's like when you hear someone's voice that's passed away and it's like almost 100% on the money, and it's like, I know who that was. And
okay, so I guess you were mimicking him perfectly, and for him, he saw that and was like, whoa, that's my brother.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now you did you see any beings or anything?
I didn't see anything. I just, now I didn't look around necessarily, because I was like, I saw that white light, and it was just getting closer and closer. And, I had my eye on the prize. I was like, I want to go there, I was like, I want to go to heaven, and
right. Since you've been back, has it changed you in any way, that experience?
It has. They say when someone dies and comes back to life that you open yourself up to the spiritual. Like if you walk in to an abandoned place and you're kind of like, I feel like there's something here with me, or, you could walk, like me, for example, I can walk into a place and I'll get sick to my stomach for some reason. I don't know why, and it's like, I bring out my iPhone and I'm checking my blood sugar, and I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. My blood sugar's normal, but it's like, why do I have this sick feeling? And I spoke to people that I trust with their opinions. And what they told me is that people who have died and come back to life and had so many near-death experiences like me, that it's kind of like a doorway, or you're just more open to feeling things or hearing things or seeing things or something. So, yeah. And I've always not like I kind of hear things every once in a while, you know, and it's kind of like, but I'm so literature wise, and I'm so I question myself so much about it. I'm like, well, maybe it was just the wind, or maybe it was just my imagination, or something like that, or I don't know. I just I never explored that, you know, because.
Well, let me ask you this. When you do have that feeling, what have you observed that's going on around you that might be associating with that?
Like, for example, when I made another documentary called My Paranormal Experiences, and I'll talk about all my experiences that I have. That's also on Amazon. But like when, for example, I have the best but worst luck in all aspects of my life, and especially when it comes to like paranormal. I don't know where I was at. It was somewhere in Alabama, and I was videotaping this place called the Shelby Hotel. And when I was there to just explore the old abandoned hotel. But when I started showing it to people, just the public in general, they started pointing out stuff to me. And I was like, what? Then I took it to paranormal investigators, and they started pointing out stuff to me. And I was like, they was like, you didn't feel anything? And I was like, yeah, I kind of did, but I just didn't. I did when I got up on the second floor, and I started getting that sick feeling. And I was like, no, I'm done. I want to get out of here because I don't want to be vomiting on camera. You know, I was like, that wouldn't be good. And so I left. But like when I left, I turned around and I took a picture with my iPhone of the place, because to me it looked pretty, just, it looked creepy and beautiful, and, what it could have been and all that. And I didn't realize there was about, I think they counted 1, 2, 3, 4 entities in the windows looking at me. And I was like, and then when they all did it and cleaned it up and stuff, I was like, oh my gosh, So,
all right. So you've died and come back to life 4 other times. In any of those other times, did you experience heaven or a place that was all black before, or did you experience any beings or anything else?
I do not remember it. My grandmother, she told me that she said, well, you remember that other time that you died and come back to life? And she said, you came back and told me that you said you heard something or saw something. And I was like, no, I don't remember. Yeah. I don't have that memory of it. But my grandmother, she always swore that I said or saw something, but she never spoke on it in detail to me. So I have no memory of it whatsoever. But my grandmother sure did, because she would be like, oh yeah, he's seen things twice. And I'll be like, I don't remember the second one. Yeah.
All right.
So,
well, I think sometimes people don't. Have you ever considered getting hypnotized to see if you remember those?
yeah, I've thought about it. I mean, I've heard that helps. Yeah, I mean, I'm open to it. Sure, why not?
Maybe it could be your next movie. You get hypnotized and you have it all filmed and see what happens.
The stories I forgot.
Yeah. I mean, that might be pretty amazing if you remember some amazing things.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm down. I'm open to it. I mean, I've never really put much thought into it, I guess, until now.
All right. So your movie about your experience, is it like a dramatic reenactment?
No, it's parts of it where it's me talking about it like I'm doing right now with you, but also I've got segments of my dad telling parts of the story of what he saw me go through. And I've done some other reenactments of I hired a voice actress for the Jamaican nurse, and I hired a voice actress for the English nurse to try to get it as authentic as I could possibly get it to, because I was like, if somebody was going to watch something that, and they started really getting into it and watching it, I want to give them my best. And if you want to give me your time, then I want to give you the best visual audio experience out there with it.
Is it like the audience is experiencing what you experienced?
Yeah, you get to, in the video, see that tunnel, and you get to see that white light to my best. Now, of course, I did add where it was the white light and the cloudy thing. Okay, I did add a few little sparkle thingies. You know what I mean? I was like, well, okay, that's not gonna get nobody mad. It makes it pretty. So,
you just Hollywoodized it a little bit.
Just itty bitty little things. It's kind of like
right. Besides hearing the voice, did you hear any other sounds over there? Like, did you hear music or anything, or did you have any other perceptions, like 360 degrees perception? Did you see colors or just white light?
I just saw the white light, and I just remember the feeling of it, like that warm sensation. I remember looking, like if you're looking straight this way, if you're driving, but so you can look out of your peripheral visions. It's like off to the side if you're looking straight. It was like a black type of tunnel almost. Yeah. And that's the best way I could describe it. It was just, and it was like I was it was like I was flying. It was like literally I was floating and like flying, but not like Superman, but just floating along or flying to this and easing my way there.
So you were heading towards the light. The light wasn't getting bigger. It's just towards it.
And and as I was getting towards it, it was expanding. Right. Slowly but surely. But that's probably because I was moving this way. It was, a peripheral or the visions of 20. So,
and when you got to the end, you were completely within the light, completely inside, like bathed.
That close. Yeah, I was that close.
Right.
I was like, oh.
All right. Since this experience, do you fear death?
No, honestly, I do not. Because it's, to me, the way now, and I want to give just a little, back history on me. I grew up in Southern Baptist, and partly Jewish, and like once I realized where I'm going, then it's kind of like, well, when it's my time to go, it's my time to go. I just hope I have enough time to pray to God to say, please forgive me for those last sins I just did, And then after that, I'm 100% positive. I know where I'm going. And if I get close to that light again, I'm going to be like, look, don't send me back this time, please.
Interesting that you had a religious upbringing, but it appears that this experience wasn't religious. Am I correct by saying that?
I guess. I mean, to me, the way I took it, it was heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was. I mean, that was heaven. And to me, like one of my friends who was telling me, I told you earlier, who was like a psychic and medium, that was explaining to me about me being sick and all that. Well, she told me that she thinks my grandfather is my guardian angel. And so it's plausible. Everybody in my family has always said, everybody's got a guardian angel except Creighton. He's got a team of them. So
is it in any way possible that the voice was God or Jesus?
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, that'd be kind of cool to know that, to me, and me being from the South, that God's got a Southern Alabama accent.
That's interesting. Okay, that's interesting. So you actually could hear a voice, hear the accent, and know that you're not hearing your own voice, but someone else's voice that was different from yours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just it wasn't my voice, but I could tell he had a Southern, an Alabama Southern, or a South, like what, the Panhandle kind of Florida thing there.
Sometimes people during their near-death experiences, it's almost like they don't hear it. It's just like they just telepathically know the person's thoughts. Was it more like that, or more like hearing a voice?
Oh, I heard it. I know what I heard it. I mean, now it could have been possibly telepathic. I don't know about, but to me, what I experienced, it was the sound. It was like if me and you was in the same room, just having a cup of coffee, and we're in a coffee shop, and you could hear me and I could hear you. It was that surround, you know what I mean? That type thing.
Would you
now
say,
it could have been telepathic? I don't know.
would you say it was loud, kind of a booming voice, or just still like as of two people talking together?
It was like two people.
Okay.
It sounded just like two people talking, or that it just sounded very Alabamian.
Okay.
And I can sort of do the voice impersonation. Oh gosh, the poor voice actor, I had to get with him on that, but to do it for how many chances, but he got it right. But he was like, Creighton, it's not your time. It's not your time. This is not your time to go. It was deeper than my voice. I have a weird voice anyway, and it's a mix of, what I call northern and southern mixed. I have like but it was, it wasn't mine. It was definitely something. Yeah, for what I gather and what I believe and what I like to believe, it was my grandfather, Grandfather Hobbs.
All right, and I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm just asking.
Yeah, right. And that's why you have these shows, to get these different experiences, because, everybody's got a different thing that they go through, a different near-death experience, right?
Right. I mean, there's a lot of similarities, but everybody's going to view it through their own lens. And, I can put up a painting on the wall and everybody can have a different opinion and what they feel from a painting, right? Or music, or
right.
However they experience it. Let me ask you this. So back on Earth, my guess is that you were almost popping into a diabetic coma, or what was going on with you physically?
When come to find out that my blood sugar, when they got the results of the test in, it was, I think, 1,100. Now the normal range is 80 to 120. And so it was like 1,100. And my body just was, it couldn't take it no more. It was just, it's like, look, I've had enough. I can't keep doing this. And the heart just stopped.
Mm-hmm. And that was it. Boom.
And, and that wasn't the first time.
Mm-hmm.
It was 4 other times that happened.
Oh, okay. All the other times was still the same thing, dealing with your diabetes.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the other 4 times were all diabetic related, because my blood sugar rose so high that I went into a thing called DKA, diabetic ketoacidosis, and there's vomiting and dehydration and a whole bunch of other wonderful things that comes with it, and I am a human, and your human body can only take so much till it's like, nope, you're done. I quit,
Right.
But,
you have to take insulin shots every day?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
You do?
I'm on the insulin pump, actually.
Okay.
So, it's insulin pump, and this is it. Mm-hmm. It's just a little device that's hooked up to me, and if my blood sugar's high, I just hit a few buttons and I get insulin. Okay. And so it's been a lot of good years. I would say 10, 12, almost 12 years since I've been in the hospital because of diabetes. I like to tell people who is not familiar with diabetes, with a diabetic, if they say my blood sugar's low, I need something to eat, think of it like a car. Your car can't run off of without gas. When the E light comes on, you need gas. My gas is food. So when I get food in me, the gas needle goes back to where I can go.
Mm-hmm. And if you have too much sugar, is that when you have the problem?
Yeah, I put too much food in me. The gas leaks out, and then I gotta take insulin and burn up the gas.
Right. Now, let me ask you this. Sometimes NDE experiencers will not share everything of their NDE experience publicly. Maybe they might do it privately with other people or other experiencers. So what I'm getting at, is there any part of your experience that you have never shared with anybody that you're willing to share with us today?
No, I'm literally an open book. I guess the only thing that I don't speak about publicly, and I mean I will, it's the experiences like when I went to the Shelby Hotel, these abandoned places, and I'll go somewhere and it's like, I want to leave. I'm feeling sick. When I say that, that means something's happening, or there's some kind of spirit or entity or something. And usually it's not a good thing. But, it's like something that really don't want you around. And I usually leave. And me as a filmmaker, and I've never said this publicly until now, when I go to shoot a horror or scary movie, right, I'm kind of picky. I would rather be in a studio versus the actual place of, for one, I don't want to be at an actual place where a crime happened. That's just really creepy and weird, to film something there. But even if it's like something that may have happened, haunting or something, I'm like, no, let's just go elsewhere. There's a million other places in this world we can do it, and so, and that's just because when I get there, I'm kind of like, I don't feel right, something's inside of me, or it's,
That's interesting. I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, man.
All right, so this movie is on Amazon Prime. Do you have to be I'm assuming you have to be an Amazon Prime member to watch it, or if not, you just pay money, or how does that work out?
If you're an Amazon Prime member, you can stream it for free.
Nice.
And if you're not an Amazon Prime member, you can rent it, I think, for $2.99. Rent it for like 2 days or something.
Right.
And then you can just buy it for $9.99. And you can just have it for the rest of your life, I guess, or until Amazon kicks it off, But
and so
either way, it's a really good deal. Either way, for a 2-hour documentary, and that's another thing as well. I want to bring to you and your audience is, yes, I go into my NDE, what I went through, what I just talked about on your show, but there's something for everybody in How Many Chances. Like, I can't even tell you the hundreds of people I've talked to so far. And what's funny is when, like, somebody that you would think they would like this one part, like where I'm talking about 1983, but they actually don't. They like it, the part where I'm talking about my near-death experience. And I'm like, hey, if you liked that part, then that's great. But there's something in there that you're going to remember, and you're gonna watch it. And if you spent $2.99 to rent it, right? And if you can sit there and say, you know what, I really enjoyed that one part of How Many Chances, and if not, then I'm sorry, I just wasted 2 hours of your life. My bad.
Now, you mentioned earlier that you had other movies on Amazon as well. What are those movies?
My paranormal experiences. And I bring to life what I really went through with my paranormal experiences, which correlates with my NDE, actually. It shakes each other's hands. And the other one was my very first one, and it's called The Mystery of Winnie Evans. And that's a documentary about my great aunt, and took place in like the early 1900s. And she was just, nobody knew what happened to her. And I started investigating and putting my investigative journalism skills to work, and that brain of mine to work, and figured out what happened to her. And it took me all the way to the middle of the country of Mississippi to St. Louis, Missouri. So that was a great, fun documentary to do.
All right. That's great. Besides these movies, you got any other projects that you're working on that you want us to know about?
Yeah, I'm actually writing right now a limited series, and it's called The History That Haunts Us. And I am basically, without giving away spoilers, I'm taking urban legends, the old urban legends, and I'm sticking to them, but I'm making it more 2021. So then that way, somebody who is younger than me, because I feel like I'm an old dinosaur at 45, but somebody in their 20s could sit back and they could watch it and enjoy it. But somebody who's from Generation X could sit back and watch it as well. It's not going to be it's going to be like a psychological / horror, scary movie, but not, Jason Friday the 13th, running around with a chainsaw. it's really going to be a real slow burn. I want to get you lost, and that kind of thing. So that's what I'm currently writing out. I'm almost finished with it. And once that's done, I'm going straight into pre-production. And then pre-production, you're going to start filming. And then after filming, get it out there for everybody to watch.
That's great. It appears to me that you like to do a lot of horror, ghosts, paranormal stuff like that. Do you ever do any UFO or alien stuff?
I've thought about it, but I don't have the big budgets like, I don't want to do a film or anything where I get people's expectations up so high. And then when you watch it, it's like, man, this is like the Blair Witch Project, or, it's just, I want to do it, but later on down the road, if things become more successful, and I'm able to put a few more pennies in the piggy bank, who knows? That's one thing about how many chances that I've learned. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow. So that's why you live each day to the fullest, right?
Yeah, I think that's great that you said that. All right, Creighton, before we wrap it up here, do you have one last message that you'd like to share to the audience?
Well, my message would be, if you are someone who experienced a life after death, near-death experience, or something like that, and you just haven't come out of the closet with it, yeah, you don't have to tell everybody in the whole wide world. You could tell just one person. And because you told that one person your experience, that may help that one person feel good about themselves or settle some kind of battle that they're going on with themselves spiritually, and like, you just got to understand that there really is something more to us that happens after we die. There really is. And sometimes some of us get lucky and have an experience like me and like a lot of your other guests as well. Because like I said, I've watched your show, love your voice. And, but then again, sometimes you just gotta wait for your time to come and wait for the curtains to be unveiled. And then you go to the park, you go to Disney World, you get your one-way golden ticket to Willy Wonka land. You know what I mean? And just don't get so wrapped up in it, and don't forget to live life. Don't forget to live day by day to each of the very fullest and to the best you can.
That's a great message. Thank you very much for that. And Creighton, thank you very much for being my guest. I really appreciate you giving me some of your time. I wish you massive success with all your movies. I think it's going to be awesome. And I hope one day that I will see you like on Netflix, or I'll be going to the movie theaters and saying, I had Creighton on my podcast.
What are you talking about? I'm going to grab you in front of e-television. I'll be like, this guy, you got to check out his podcast. He's awesome. Listen to his voice. He's got that Louisiana voice,
Well, maybe one day you can use me as a voiceover actor.
Oh, right. Heck yeah. That'd be awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Creighton. Well, you have a great evening.
No, thank you. And thank you for having me. I so enjoyed myself, man. It was great.
Thank you again. And it was fun.
All right. Well, y'all. I'll see y'all later.
Bye-bye. Thanks for watching the JeffMara podcast. I really appreciate you. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. And if you do, there are loyalty badges and other perks depending on your level of membership. All you need to do is click the join button underneath the video to find out more. Thank you for your support.